Few directors reach a level of great, and even fewer directors are able to change the industry with their unique techniques and creativity. Robert Zemeckis, creator of movies like Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, and The Polar Express, is one of those guys. He has left an indelible mark on how movies are made, and he's about to do it again. Zemeckis was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1952. He loved television growing up and started making his own home videos at a young age. He went on to attend the University of Southern California's School of Cinematic Arts, and after winning a Student Academy Award there for his film A Field of Honor, Zemeckis came to the attention of Steven Spielberg. Spielberg said he barged right past my secretary, sat me down, and showed me his student film, and I thought it was spectacular. Spielberg became Zemeckis' mentor and executive produced his first two films, both of which Zemeckis co-wrote himself. Romancing the Stone in 1984 was his first big hit, starring Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. But the first film I want to talk about today is Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988.
What's up, Doc? Jumping without a parachute?
Like I've said, Zemeckis is a pioneer and innovator for filmmaking, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a perfect example of this. While 2D character animations have been in movies before, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was the first to do it with a moving camera. It required them to film background plates, then have another piece of film that was just the drawings, and then expose both of those on another piece of film to combine them. What sells these effects are the characters interacting with real-life objects. Like, for example, in this scene, the waiters are holding real trays, and to achieve this they needed to elevate the set off the ground so crew members could puppet the trays that were attached to sticks. Another example of this is when Bob Hoskins is driving the car. They actually built a smaller car that was controlled by a stuntman who would drive, and then draw over it to cover it up with a character. All of these interactions are all throughout the movie, and it really sells the effect of the characters being in that real world. Like when this prop gun is being puppeted above Hoskins, or when they have water shoot out of a hose and then make that water shoot out of the character's mouth. It all took meticulous planning and a strong vision to make these effects work.
Forrest Gump.
Now, can you believe it? After only 5 years of playing football, I got a college degree.
6 years later, Zemeckis would create possibly his best film and my favorite of his, Forrest Gump. While it is a relatively grounded film, there are a bunch of smooth and hidden effects. Like all of the footage of Tom Hanks being composited into these old clips. They essentially had to perfectly match him in every scene. Like when he meets JFK, you can actually see the handshakes don't line up perfectly, but you don't even notice it because of how well it's done. Another effect is the actor that played Lieutenant Dan obviously has legs, but for a bunch of the movie his character doesn't. They had to be removed for every one of those scenes and have the ends of them be created as well. Again, there's the same techniques of interactions with real-life objects that are seemingly impossible. Like Lieutenant Dan swinging his legs around this table. If the actor had legs that were removed after, then he wouldn't be able to do that. So they filmed it without the table there and then added it later after removing his legs. There's just a bunch of seamless special effects techniques, and while maybe not the first of its kind, they're still really well done.
Sounds to me like this is your crucial year. If I were you, I would think about climbing on board.
As movies started moving towards the digital era in the 2000s, Zemeckis attempted to break more ground with his movie The Polar Express. Now, say what you want about this movie, I know it doesn't necessarily look great and is portrayed now as like video game animations, but for 2004, this was the first of its kind. The whole movie is CGI, but Zemeckis filmed real actors for all the scenes. This isn't the first movie with digital characters. Gollum in Lord of the Rings, Dobby in Harry Potter all came out before this, but every character in The Polar Express was digital. It was all filmed on a stage with 170 cameras filming the actors, which caused 80 gigabytes of footage being captured per minute. Again, I understand this movie is weird looking at times and may have missed the mark in visual quality, but the techniques used in production were definitely a first of its kind and incredibly unique. 3 years later, he took another shot at it with Beowulf, which essentially visually looks similar. This time they had 220 cameras and again used similar techniques to The Polar Express. In my opinion, these movies set the stage for the entire 3D filmmaking for movies like Avatar 2 years later, which was filmed in similar ways. Now, I want to skip ahead years later to what the main point of this video is, and that's because Zemeckis' new movie, which is releasing in November of 2024, is yet another innovative and creative film for him. It's called Here, and the concept seems pretty cool. The camera angle is not going to change for the entire movie. It will start years before, and the audience will gradually see time pass as the house gets built and generations of family live there. One of the effects you could see from the trailer is the de-aging of actors. This movie reunites Tom Hanks and Robin Wright from Forrest Gump, and honestly the de-aging effects look pretty perfect. Now, de-aging isn't new. A great example of it is from Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, which de-aged De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino in that movie. They worked with ILM to use infrared cameras to map out their faces for the effects to go on top of, and it looks solid, but it's definitely not amazing. For this movie, they used a huge library of images and clips of the two of them from when they were young and basically able to put those images over top of the footage like makeup, as Zemeckis described in a featurette that was just released as part of the film's marketing. And they're not shying away from these effects. As you can see, the actors come very close to the camera. In my opinion, this movie is going to be great, and it already seems incredibly unique. I wouldn't expect anything else from a director like Robert Zemeckis, who's proved time and time again he's always looking to push the envelope of filmmaking. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, but I also hope you learned something new. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how his new movie is going to be, so leave a comment and we can chat. Any like or comment on this video helps me out a ton, so I appreciate all the support, and I will catch you guys in the next one.